What's up, Southern Indiana Combat Production fans? I'm Gina Lucille, and today I'm speaking with Saevon Canto. Saevon, thank you so much for joining us here today. You were just saying earlier in the waiting room that you're cutting a little bit of weight. What do you usually weigh? Like, what's your walking weight?
So it kind of depends. When I'm outside of camp, I probably walk around at like 160. But once I start camp and kind of cut out drinking and kind of get some of those bad habits out of the way, I usually kind of level back down to about 153, 155 ish. So it's not fighting at 145 isn't really much of a weight cut for me. Like I said, it's really just about kind of getting those bad habits out of the way pretty early on to get some of those bad calories and some of that bad weight off me.
Absolutely. I think everybody can kind of relate to that.
Yeah,
Cutting all the bad stuff out, and then you're like, whoa, I mean, this stuff is coming right off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, how did you get into fighting?
So I was a pretty big wrestler in high school. I wrestled up in Brownsburg, Indiana, right outside of Indianapolis. So they have a pretty good wrestling program. So that was really a big thing for me. Once I got out of high school, I didn't continue on to college with wrestling. As I went through college, I was really just looking for, kind of something to just give me a little bit of edge, something just to keep me active. I kind of tried to get in the, just stick with lifting weights and things like that. But it's just really not my thing. I mean, I enjoy working out, things like that, but weightlifting isn't necessarily the same as, it's a far stretch from wrestling, obviously. So I was really looking for something that was more, oriented around what I was used to doing, which is, combat sport, competing, and, kind of getting something that really gets me, just kind of gets me going, which is kind of fighting. Fighting really has, it's really it's a next step up from wrestling in terms of, the adrenaline and things like that, because there's a lot more that you have to think about and things like that in terms of the striking and other things and, injuries and stuff like that. So, but that's really what kind of led me into getting into fighting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you guys are a whole different breed. That adrenaline, combat, it also, you got to throw in that respect and self-control. It's just all of those things mixed. It sure is a certain breed of people that are meant for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think as a fighter, you gotta be a little off to be a fighter, you know what I mean? Because it takes someone that's not completely sane to want to step into a cage or somebody else and try to take each other's heads off. So
Sure.
and there's a martial arts aspect to it as well, but like I said, you gotta be a little different to be willing to do something like that. So yeah, definitely a different breed there, I guess you could say.
I really loved that when they sent me the list of names to interview. I loved it when they send me someone who's new to the sport per se, competing wise. Because
Sure.
this is your third amateur fight.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are 1-1. So you've had your taste of victory, you've had a taste of defeat, looking for some redemption, you know what I mean, to come back into Southern Indiana Combat Productions. So with that being said, where's your mindset been for this fight?
For this fight, my mindset is really just kind of been just reflecting on my last two fights, and with my last two fights, some of the biggest things I've been dealing with is just the kind of mental battle. I felt like my last two fights, both my opponents, if I was really at my 100% game in terms of mentally, I think I probably would have got rid of both those guys in the first round. I mean, with all due respect to both of them, I don't think, outside of being in front of a crowd of people, if it was just, me and them and our coaches, I think both of my last two opponents, I probably would have got out of there pretty quick. I don't think I showed my capabilities very well in either of my first two fights, my win and my loss. And so with this fight, my main thing is just trying to keep my mental game kind of on point, because I know physically I'm there. I'm a better caliber than I think most amateurs that have similar records to me. But it's my mental aspect I really have to get control of, controlling my adrenaline, controlling my nerves, and going out there and really showcasing kind of the abilities I have, because I just didn't do that in either one of my last two fights. So that's really where my mind has been at this fight, is just really just making sure I'm in my head. And the biggest thing is I've just been telling myself, let's just go out there and have fun. I think the last two times, I was treating it as if it was a life or death situation. It's like, dude, this is just amateur fighting in Evansville, Indiana. Like, let's just go have some fun, get in the cage, throw some hands, and show people the athlete and the fighter that we really are, because we haven't done that the last two times. That's really been weighing on me. So I plan on going there and not being so serious about it. Obviously I'm going to have a serious tone to it, but I'm not going to be treated as if it's life or death. I'm going to treat it as what it is, which is an amateur fight in Evansville, Indiana. I'm gonna go out there and have some fun and try to get out of there. So,
Well, it's a competition,
yeah,
and this is what your amateur career is all about.
right.
You're learning, and you actually learn more from your failures than you do your wins sometimes,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and so that's not a bad thing. I mean, like to have, you see a lot of guys with undefeated records and then they turn pro and they hit a loss and they don't know what to do with it.
right.
So that's like it's really good for you to kind of be all mixed in your amateur career and test yourself. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And you get to practice, like you said, your mental game. That's again, that's a huge part of being an athlete. So with that being said, you're going to go in there from what you're saying and you're going to be more mentally clear. What challenges do you see coming forward with Isaiah, your opponent?
I really don't see too many challenges coming forward. I mean, to be honest, it's not, I haven't done any homework on him or anything like that. I just don't think, I don't think really, I don't think me or him or most people at this level, I just don't think it's necessary for me to be doing homework. I mean, I'm not someone, I'm not at that level to where I'm going to be able there and just, make any necessary change possible in the ring. I think, I'm at a point to where, I can make some small adjustments in the ring, or in the cage when I need to, but small adjustments. I don't think I'm at the level to where, I can, make huge adjustments in the fight. I think it's one of those things that when you're at this level, you kind of come with the skill set you have and you just have to apply that the best you can. I think that goes for me. And like I said, most amateurs kind of at this level with, records similar to me or Isaiah. It's just one of those things, you kind of know the skill set you have and you just have to apply that right now. And as you build your skill set, you're, down the line, you get better at being able to make adjustments and things like that. But I just don't see myself or even him being able to make any major adjustments just at the level that we're at. Just because we're just that skill set isn't there. And so right now, my main focus is just going in there and just applying what I do have, my skill set. I do think I'm a very well-rounded striker. I also have a great, grappling foundation under me. So that helps. So I think that makes me, I feel like I'm going to go in here a little bit more well-rounded than he is. And I felt like that in my last two fights as well. I think I was just a more well-rounded fighter. And so with this situation, with this fight, like I said, I didn't do any homework on him. I'm going to go in there and just apply my skill set, and just go in there with the mindset knowing that, like, hey, I put in the work to know that my skill set is gonna be dominant in this fight. And that's kind of really what my game plan is here. And like I said, I'm just gonna have fun with it. I train with some high level guys. And even though, I get my ass kicked most of those times, I know that if I can at least hang in there and get my ass kicked by some high level guys, then worst case scenario, this guy will barely kick my ass. And more than likely, it's going to be the opposite. More than likely, I'm probably going to end up, putting the hurt on him. So that's kind of the game plan, the mindset that I'm coming with, is just apply my skill set the best as I can, and do it with, with a smile on my face. So.
It's wonderful to hear fighters say they love the camp that they're in and they're having a good time. Not just a good time, but like a good time getting beat up.
Yeah.
Again, different type of people, really. But
Yeah.
with that being said, your coaches, your training partners, you really do you really put a lot of everything basically into their hands?
Um, for the most part, in terms of the physical training, yes. I do put a majority of it into their hands because, like I said, I train with some high level guys, and most of them are what I would consider veterans in the different combat sports that they do, whether it's jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, boxing, or wrestling, whatever it is. I try to put my like I said, the physical training kind of in their hands and say, like, hey, what knowledge can I bounce off you guys to be able to help my skill set. So in terms of the mental aspect, maybe a little bit, maybe 20%, but the mental aspect, I try to handle most of that on my own. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's going to be in my own head, 24 hours out of the day. And those 9 minutes in that cage, it's going to be just me and myself in my own head. So I think it's important for me to take care of my own self mentally for the most part, maybe take some tips here and there, but really trying to understand myself and take care of myself mentally. But on the physical aspect, like I said, I really do put a lot into my teammates and my coach's hands in terms of what I need to do. I try listening to whatever it is they tell me in terms of techniques, strategies, and what to do physically.
So what did you guys learn from your last two fights physically, and what changes have you made?
So one of the biggest things that we learned physically for me in my last two fights is because I didn't do a good job at preparing myself mentally. I gassed out. At least in my first fight, I gassed out pretty early, and I was able to I think having that wrestling background, I was just like, you know what, either way, gassed or not, like I'm not fucking getting put out of this fight either way. So I was able to battle through that, and then come out to win. And then in my second fight. It wasn't that gassed out in the second fight. I was just a lot more hesitant in my second fight. I think I was still, dominating in that whole fight. I just, kind of got lazy with the takedown at the end and got, caught in a cheap guillotine. Not cheap, but it wasn't the best guillotine. I just, like I said, got lazy and got sloppy and got put in the guillotine that I really shouldn't have got caught in because, I know how to defend that and I'm better than that. But it's one of those things, like I said, I probably could have got that guy out earlier in the fight if I wouldn't have been so hesitant on things. And so based off those two, experiences, we've done a lot more with making sure I pushed myself a lot physically this camp to make sure that I know no matter what going in this fight that even with the adrenaline and everything happening and the adrenaline dump following, in the first round, I know no matter what, I'll be in shape and I'll be able to go. I can go 2 9-minute fights if I needed to. And so that's really, I think, helped me a lot mentally because at the end of the day, I know I'm in the back of my head. I'm like, no matter what, I'm prepared to go a full 9 rounds if I need to. And so I think that's going to help me not be so hesitant and not be so afraid to pull the trigger and kind of just, go all out all 3 rounds. And so I think that's really helped boost my confidence a little bit in this for this fight too. And so and that's part of the reason why I'm so excited for this fight is just because I don't really feel like mentally I have any barriers that I'm really battling right now. I feel good. It's fight week at this point, so it's fight week feels, and I'm just really feeling good mentally. So I just want to get this weight cut over with, and I just want to get in that ring, octagon, and get this stuff taken care of, and have a couple beers after.
Yeah, man, because we're gonna be seeing you Friday for weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you Friday for weigh-ins and Saturday's fight night. And man, but I'm so glad to hear that you're confident in your cardio because that has a lot to do with it when you go in there. You just know that you've put the work in, you put the time in. So you've dealt with, this is your third different promotion. How has it been dealing with Southern Indiana Combat Productions and Scott and everybody, that works behind the scenes?
Yeah. No, it's been a really smooth process. And really that at least from my perspective as a fighter, the best part for me is they really haven't asked much of me at all, which has been awesome. It's amazing. As a fighter, when you're going through fight camp, things like that, the last thing you want to do is hear, the promoter, hear anyone, asking you something. You're like, dude, I got enough on my plate here, because like most of us, I have a full-time job as well. And so, it's like, dude, with my full-time job, I got my girlfriend, my son, and then on top of this, my fighting career. I got enough on my plate. The last thing I want is somebody else asking me, hey, I need this. And so it's been awesome with Scott and, Southern Indiana Combat because they really haven't asked much of me at all. They made this whole process pretty easy and pretty smooth, giving everyone the details and things like that. So it's really been a smooth process getting through this camp and getting ready for this fight, for this promotion. So I'm really grateful for them for that. And it makes it, even better that we're fighting in Evansville, Indiana, so get that hometown crowd behind us. So it's really been awesome and a pleasure, fighting for this promotion. And hopefully I can get on another card with them, later down the line here.
It's probably gonna be so awesome for you to fight in your hometown.
Yeah. And and it's not like my complete hometown. I'm originally from Brownsburg, Indiana, which is up by Indianapolis, but I've been down here in Evansville for 7 going on 8 years now. So it's definitely starting to feel like my hometown. And this is where, my firstborn son is where I had him. So it definitely, it feels like that hometown crowd. My girlfriend's family is down here. I got a lot of friends down here. My teammates are all down here. So yeah, it feels like, that hometown crowd. So yeah, and it's definitely going to be feel good. Fight in front of them, adds a little bit of nerves to it. But like I said, I'm looking to have fun. And so I'm really not trying to let the nerves bother me too much. I just want to show, my family and friends, not just what I'm capable of, but, what MMA is about. A lot of them aren't, super embedded into this kind of sport. So I really am excited for them to see this, live and in action and just see me compete and do something I like to do. So.
Well, man, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to see you. I mean, with that being said, I mean, we're going to see you this weekend and I just want you to get this weight cut over with.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
I got a little bit of room to eat tonight, so I'm happy about that. A little bit of food tonight, a little bit of fluids, and just keep it pushing until Friday, and then Saturday night, make some noise. So.
Awesome. Well, Saevon, thank you so much for being here tonight, and we will see you this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. See you this week.